Hello everybody, I'm Fatness, and we're going to be doing a playthrough of Factorio. Uh, this is version 14 like 0.13 I think, and all the settings are totally normal, and there's no mods. It's like a completely vanilla game. So this is just a fresh map. I haven't actually done anything. I'm just spawning a few of them to try and get a decent start. Actually managed to spawn on an island a couple times, so it's not the most useful start. So let's go ahead and just start with fuel. Or a tool. So really, the first thing we need to do is just grab like a few of these. Well, I guess we'll go for 5. 5 of these, some wood, and we can go ahead and just start mining some iron. Get some iron plates going. Probably need a little bit more of the coal for the next run through. And the first thing I'm going for is try and get one of these burner drills set up on each of these different resources that I need. Copper, stone, coal, and iron plates. So we're also going to need some stone. I think that's 5. We'll get 5 and then we'll see how much I actually need. Let's see here. Burner inserter takes a stone furnace, which is 5. And then, of course, some iron. Looks like 9 total iron, because you gotta make 3 of these gears. So, hopefully, good. Good, so that's pretty quick. I think the base unmodded game is actually pretty fast. In the past, I've actually done some marathon and Bob's mods, and that can really slow down the pace of the game. We're gonna get another box. Stick that there. There we go. So now that'll fill her up. And really, we should probably get another one. What's that gonna take again? More stone. Actually. Cool. I like this start just because all the resources are really close. In the beginning, there's just so much running back and forth between these resources just to mine up what you need that when they're spaced way over here and over here, it's just a giant pain. All right, so now we got 2 of these. I think we can go for a stretch goal here and try and get these burner inserters right away. Yeah, we can. Okay, because one setup I like to start with is I like to do this kind of thing. So they could fuel each other, but then they'll only get 1 stack worth before they max out. So it's a little... that's too much. It's a little bit more resource intensive to do it this way, but then at least they don't stop if you're away for an extended period of time. That's the way I like to do it, especially if you're doing it on like a marathon or something where you're probably going to be supplying things full of coal for a lot longer, by hand. So I don't know, it might be overkill here. So our first goal, as it is in all Factorio games, is to try and get to automation as fast as humanly possible. Because right now, I mean, this is it. This is the most automation that we can manage. So we need to go ahead and try and get some of these researches done. Research. And so I think first thing we're probably going to want is this here, this assembling machine. It'll let us automatically build things, right? And then as a second goal, we would want to try and go for these guys, because right now we can stick things on belts, which is super useful, and like this will put coal onto a belt and it'll cart it around for us. But if we can't actually split that coal in half, then ultimately everything we do has to be in one giant long line, which will get old fast. Good news is we should be able to skip pretty quickly through these technologies. So let's see here. copper. We don't have any copper. We should probably get another one of these burner drills, just so that we can get each of the different resources running. So I'm gonna go for 10 here. Oh no, I need stone too. One burner, one furnace, and another burner. So 15. Yeah, with 15 stone, that'll let us make 3 burner drills, and then we can get each of the major resources at least automatically mining. So hopefully by the time we need each of the different things, we'll have a big enough stockpile sitting there. Oh, perfect. 2 and 1. And some fuel. So for now, I'm just going to make stone go directly into a box. Because we don't actually need the bricks for anything for a little while, so we can just do that. And then copper. Because our first goal, in order to begin the research, we need to have a lab. And in order to power the lab, because it requires electricity, is we need a steam engine. So, and some burners, or boilers to heat the water up. And a pump to pump the water. So I'll go through the setting up steam engine for the first time once we get there. At this point, we're really just trying to get a nice little stockpile of some iron. One very useful trick, if you're still fairly new to the game, is the Alt key. I almost play almost continuously with this mode enabled. With this Alt key, it tells you which direction inserters are pulling from and putting things into, and the output for different machines. It also tells you what something is making and what's inside a container. So it makes it really easy to see what's going on at a glance. And I'm just pulling things out of these containers by control clicking. It lets you just take everything out of a chest or everything out of an assembler or a furnace like this. But it doesn't actually take the ore, only the result now. Cool. But we do need more stone. So now we should have enough to get some rudimentary power going. Cool. So a steam engine is, well, like you'd expect, a steam engine. You basically force steam through it and it makes power. The boilers make steam from regular water, or really they just heat up the water. There's no actual steam in this game. And then the pumps don't require any electricity and they pump water from a water supply like this. And that's the basic setup for power. I just need to find a good spot. I guess I'll just toss it right in the middle here. This is kind of a terrible place. Oh, there we go. A terrible place to put a power, simply because we'll be on top of all these resources, and eventually we're gonna consume like all of this at least. Probably several of the other ones that are up there somewhere. I will just make it easy on myself. Do like that. There you go. So you got water, gets boiled, and creates power. But of course, to boil it, you're gonna need some fuel. Let's put it all in there. Good. And now you can see it's at 100 degrees Celsius, 10 units of water. Say, oh, this is not heated up yet, but as soon as we pull it through the water, we actually start using it, it should heat up. So let's see. Now we want a lab, which is going to require a little bit more iron. We're going to need a few more of these soon. Go faster. Alright, now we have a lab. So once we place the first lab, it asks us to choose an initial research to go for. And so I prefer to start with this assembly machine. That makes it easier to automate producing these red science packs. The way research works in this game is essentially you take your science labs, and you can have more than one. And they are like an assembler or a furnace or something, and they burn up these science packs, different ones depending on which science you're researching. They basically just melt them down. They melt them down and they give you cool science. So this one is telling us in order to research this, it's going to take 10 seconds per, I guess, cycle, and it's going to take 10 science packs total. So basically, 10 seconds per, one science pack per, and 10 times. So that'd be like 100 seconds and 10 science packs. And that's one reason why I like to start with this assembling machine, because as soon as it's done, we can slap down an assembling machine, and then all we have to do is feed it copper and iron, and it will make the science packs for us, because they're not the fastest thing to make in your pocket. So then we can just basically have a chest and dump some iron, copper, or whatever else we need in there, and let that go, because this one, it takes 20 science packs and 15 seconds each, so they just get worse and worse as you go. So the ones down here are going to take forever. But of course, you can always have more than one, so like if we had 10 of these, it would only take 10 seconds. That's it, because all 10 would run 10 science packs at the same time. So we'll go ahead and pick this one. And these things cannot transfer power just by themselves. The only way you can transfer power between buildings is with a electric pole. Even if they're touching, you must always have an electric pole, and they've got to be inside this little blue highlight area. So once you do that, it kicked on there for a second, but because it doesn't actually have any science packs, it did nothing. So let's see here. To get us started, we could probably just toss in some science. 5. But we need 10 total, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more copper. And you can see they're not super fast, and if you spend all your time crafting these, then you're not crafting something else. Or fueling your burners. Oh wait, I'm being silly. Okay, so we got 5, I can toss them in there, and you see it cooks them slowly. And then it's gonna go through all 5, which will get us halfway. So I'll go ahead and make another 5, because that's the only way we can advance, is if I handcraft these guys, because we don't have an assembler yet to do it. And I can't craft any more burners, I can't craft any furnaces, I just have to wait. I guess I can chop trees down. Alright, so that should be enough if I counted correctly. The next thing that we want to do is we're going to start burning through these iron plates pretty quickly. See, we're already at 19 again. So let's go for a bunch more of these guys, please. Just start mass producing iron plates. Now what I'm doing there is I'm doing a control and a right click, which actually puts half. So you see it says 2, so when I control right click it puts 1. And when you control left click, it puts all. So I put all 3 in there and I had 1 left, so then 1. So it makes it a little bit easier to just quickly add and remove things from containers, so it's pretty awesome. Alright, so now we can make these handy dandy crafting machines, assembling machines, and so the next one that I'd like to do is this, logistics. Because in this game, you'll see here in a minute, perhaps the next episode, we very often will use these belts, right? So instead of putting things into boxes, we'll just put them onto a belt. Let's just get a couple. Actually, here, I'll just do it right now as an example. You see we stick things on these belts, and that will help us move stuff around, and we can take things off the belts, so that I don't have to run around putting things into and out of containers. It's only so useful though, because if you don't have a splitter, everything has to stay on one belt, so you end up with I want to supply all of this with coal, so I'd have to have a belt that does a giant circle. And that can get pretty obnoxious, especially when these have iron plates. I want to put them on a belt. So the next best thing is to go for this logistics. That'll allow us to first go underneath things if we have to. Second, split the belt in half, so I can have coal go in 2 different directions if I needed to. So that'll be the next one I think that we should go for, and then our factory will start going into overdrive, and we'll have some serious automation. So let's just go ahead and start that. And then next, we'll go ahead and automate the science packs. Oh, I better put this back. Because now I would have to make, how many? 20 more science packs in my pocket, and then just kind of stare at it until it's done. If we don't go ahead and create ourselves a little assembling machine. And we'll go ahead and use these powered inserters. These inserters, you may have seen it at the beginning, they'll sometimes take a piece of coal and they'll fuel themselves. Because they work, I guess they have a little tiny steam engine in there or something. And these guys, they work on electricity. So as long as they stay inside this powered area, which we have a limited amount of power based on how many of these guys we got, they'll work fine. They don't have to keep fueling them, which goes back to this automation concept, where if I'm having to do something myself, then I'm probably doing it wrong. So let's just keep 2 boxes. We're gonna go ahead and have it craft science packs. And they take, same as it would take if it was in my inventory, some copper plates and some iron gears. So iron gears is another thing that we'd have to make, and you know, they're faster, but there's still something I have to make, and I don't want to make anything, so I'm extremely lazy. There we go. We will have the gears also made. Something like that. And we're about to have power poles all over the place. Let's see here. There. Oh no, that's terrible. There. Okay, so this guy will make the science packs. Turn that back on. This guy will make the gears. We'll take the gears, put them in here, and so if it's going to get gears, it only needs copper now from somewhere else. And I'll just put that in a box because I can't make copper. I have to have it or get routed all the way over here and then smelt it right beside the assembler, which I don't know that I really need to do that. We don't need that much copper. So I'll just like grab a whole bunch and see the box. Copper. And then this guy takes iron. So now we have this nice little automated stream. So I could make 3 myself, but instead I'll just stick it all in here and it will make 3 for me and I can just walk away. And what's even better is I can just put like a ton of stuff in here and I don't have to have it all in my inventory, and it'll just craft forever until it runs out. See how they kind of progress one to the other? So there. Now we have automated science packs. Craft's a little bit slower, I think, than these guys. Level 1 crafters are 0.5 crafting speed. I'm not sure if the pocket crafting speed down here is... I assume it's 1.0. I'll have to look that up now. But these crafting units are the slowest out of all of them. But it's still better than me doing it, because now I have like 1 freed crafting slot, basically. So let me fuel this copper, because we're about to run into some serious supply issues here. And you see this running back and forth manually fueling stuff will get old pretty fast. So now that we're at this stage, we got semi-automated science packs, which already ran out of materials. And that's it. So now next will be a tremendous amount of automating. Belts all over the place. That's my plan. Lots and lots of belts. I think I might try, as we build this base out, to make it in a kinda organized fashion, but that usually only lasts about 5 minutes for me, so we'll see how it goes. So that's all for today. I'm Patnus. Thanks for watching.